what do they call that stuff? Slick tight thread sealer. I think this is a little bit old. It's a little bit hard. It's not going to do a whole lot of good, but that's all right. I think that Teflon seal there is enough. Yeah, so there we are. Got a kind of a quasi rebuilt check valve. So now we'll take that old one off. I have a lot of pipe wrenches that I inherited from my dad and from my granddad, but the best ones, I'm not a plumber, I don't use them all the day, but I do use them a lot. The best ones for the money are the Home Depot ones, the Huskies. Man, these are good pipe wrenches. I have abused this, and it still just keeps on chugging. The other ones, they don't hold near as good as the Husky brand does. It's probably made by Rigid anyway. I don't know if they're still the best. They used to be considered to be probably among the best, if not the best. You're going to be amazed. It is truly amazing. When I built my first one, I got the plans from YouTuber Engineer 775. Most of you guys, if you're not subscribed to him, you should be. He's an engineer. He's about my age, but he does off-grid stuff. He does a lot of stuff with water, off-grid water, solar water, ram pumps and such. He really knows his business. He's the one that first turned me on to this, and I used his plans on YouTube. I'm sure they're still out there to build this one. And the funny thing is when I built it, make sure that this is the right way. The water's got to go this way. Yeah, this way. When I first built it, I didn't understand how it worked, not at all. I tried to understand it, but my mind just couldn't grasp it. And so I just followed his instructions, and I built it, and I did everything I was told. And when I opened up the valve to turn it on, it actually worked. I couldn't believe it. It still just gives me goosebumps now thinking about it. I was so surprised. And I just kind of kneeled down there, and it was just running and clicking away and pumping water, using no electricity with 2 moving parts. And it took me 20 minutes or so. Finally, watching it work, I finally understood what was causing it to work. Oops, I understood the science of it. And yeah, it's really incredible, because when you think about that, what does that say about the guy that invented this? Because I think that this pump was invented either by the English or French in about 16th, 7th, 15th century, a long time ago. Rams have been in use for a long time. And when a guy like myself, I'm reasonably handy. I'm no genius by any means, stretch of the imagination, but I'm reasonably handy. Kind of understand machines and stuff. When I can't grasp it, when it's been explained to me and already built, what does that say about the mind that thought up the concept and created the very first one? They're operating on a different level, aren't they? One thing about the Wranglerstar channel here is it is as consistent as the seasons, because the same projects and the same things roll around every year, don't they? How many times have we done this? But this is what you do in the spring. You get ready for a garden, and you get your irrigation all sorted out, and especially this summer, we are in such a drought. I don't know that we're in California standard drought, but for us it is. We've never wanted for water. I mean, water is so abundant in the Pacific Northwest, but we want to make sure that it's a good test, though. If you have to, someday ever you have to live upon what you can grow, and you don't have access to power or pumps or sprinklers and such, it's good to have these little, maybe we call it like a Hudson Bay Start. You know what a Hudson Bay Start is? The Hudson Bay Company, they were a trading post in Canada, and it was kind of a jumping off spot for people that were going up, was it in the Klondike, or I forget exactly where, up north. Up where it was cold. Gold miners, trappers, explorers, you name it. That's where you started. It was kind of like the St. Louis what the St. Louis was to the Oregon Trail. And so a Hudson Bay Start was if you had a group of men and you were going to go out and be out for an extended period of time, you would buy all of your supplies from the Hudson Bay Company, and then you would go a day's journey away. A day's journey, and you'd spend the night. And the reason why you only left, in a day's journey and spent the night is you could find out what you'd forgotten without getting a long ways, maybe a week or months away before you realized that you'd forgot something that you really needed. And so that was called a Hudson Bay Start. That was typically done, and then once they realized what it was that they were lacking or they hadn't considered or hadn't thought, they were only a day away and they could send someone back and to go get those items that they were in need of. That's a Hudson Bay Start. Okay, everything's pretty tight, so we'll just go around here and we'll get these things. These check valves need to be oriented in a certain way. So they need to be both facing up like this. A fitting that you use to connect pipes together so you can take them loose is called a union fitting. That's what this is right here. This is good for the ram pump. Not that it did me much good this year, but so you can take it out of the pipe, take it out of the line without unscrewing round and round and round and all of the difficulty that comes with that. So this is a union fitting. So you can just simply loosen that up, and there's one on both ends, and then take this loose, and then you can take the ram pump in, which it should be brought in for winter, which I didn't do. So if you look right there, you can see that's got that little that taper on there. There's a opposite of that on the inside. I was just cleaning this up with the wire brush, and that, as that squeezes fit, that makes a seal right there, a nice tight seal. The tighter you tighten the nut, the more it seals. And here's the little union, little brass union on the other end. That's the discharge. That's what feeds the water out to the pump. This is an air check valve. This is a test port for a pressure gauge. I can put a pressure gauge on there. So if you have something outside that you'd like to have put a pressure gauge on it, but you don't want to leave it out there all the time, because we want to take care of our oil-filled pressure gauge. Look at this one. Man, that Dixon. That's a good one there. Sometimes I was working on something with this, and I'll take a Sharpie and write on there if I'm trying to look at a particular range or some reason. But one thing that concerns me here is if you see that gauge is not sitting down on its pin, that's usually an indication that there's something wrong with it. But I do not believe I've used this gauge since I brought it up to altitude. It could be, and I think that this here is an equalizer. So if we turn that, will that, oh, it made it worse. That's curious. Does it come out? I'm showing my ignorance here. I don't even know what that thing is. All I know is that a little bit of oil came out of it. Let me know what that is if you know. Well, we'll see if it works. We'll go with it.
The tree of knowledge grows there, he added a few steps further on. It is a place that teachers of men spring from and go to. It's what you may call a castle, manned by scholarship and religion.
Open this up here and make sure there's nothing stuck in it. I've already flushed it. Each stroke. And just like that, it's operating now on its own.